Begin. Tellarknight, Centurion versus Dinomorphia, Labyrinth. We're going to use the Butler to discard herself to set up a trap from the hand to make it activatable the turn it is set. As we activate that Dinomorphia domain to fusion summon into a Centurion. Centurion is going to be able to copy the effect of the in-graveyard Dinomorphia domain to then get impermanence negated just like that. Thank you. You will not be further fusion summoning into the Floodgate. The Floodgate being a Rex term, which would disallow all of the opponent's monsters they control to activate if their attack is higher than your life points. All right. We're going to summon a lady from the deck, then return it back to the hand as we then activate Trap Trick, chaining the lady to the Trap Trick. This is where you'd want to chain link block the lady so it does not set a trap from the deck for free. As we grab a Ferret Flames, which will be activatable the turn it's set. I want you to understand the situation here. We're at 2,000 life. And if we read the Ferret Flames, the combined attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls, if it's higher than your life points, make your opponent. That means a monster unaffected by card effects is going to be affected by this because you're affecting the opponent, not the card. They have to shuffle their face-up monsters into the deck, their choice, except monsters with 0 attack, of course, so that the combined attack of the remaining monsters is going to be 2,000. All right, let's go. Let's go. Set up the Frenzy through the effects. Wait, this is not activatable turn. This was set through the Lady, so this is not activatable. The Frenzy is what was set through the Trap Trick, so that's the card that will be activatable. We're now going to Iron Thunder. Iron Thunder is going to spell a trap card or monster effects activated. You pay half your life points to negate the activation, and then destroy any other cards in the same column. Well, we're in the same column as a Lady, but the Lady cannot be destroyed by card effect. Wipe it up, and it's by both card effects, not just your opponent. Wait, your opponent's card effects. So we destroyed our own Lady, got destroyed by our Iron Thunder. Ain't no way. Set up with the stand-up Centurion, discard Trudea to set up the Primera special summon. We do have the Trap Trick says if you activate a trap, you can't activate another one for that turn. So the Frenzy is now turned off in favor of the Iron Thunder because we activated the Trap Trick early. Now, had we used Iron Thunder and then, our Lady would have not been destroyed possibly because maybe it was in a different column, we could then have used the Trap Trick to set up the Frenzy to then make it activatable. The Trap Trick is stating just for the rest of the turn are you not able to activate another card. You can only activate one trap for the rest of the turn after this Trap Trick resolves. So now we're super screwed because our back row is completely locked up. They have full free reign on us as we have 0 disruptions in sight. Lorisor, go all the way. We're going to set up the Constellar Tellarknight to summon a Tellarknight from the hand or graveyard. We're now going to use the Caduceus to link it up. I should say rank it up into an M7. M7, detach material, return a monster on the field or graveyard back to the hand. And just like that, we are scooping it up as the Trap Trick locked us out of summoning our Rex term. Set 4 pass, that's the best, almost as good as set 5. We're gonna flip up the Soul of the Supreme King to come forth and summon a Supreme King Z Arc onto the field. Now, what exactly is happening here? The Supreme King trap in the graveyard states that if your opponent activates a spell or trap card, a spell card that is, spell card or the effect of a spell card, you banish this card to then summon from your extra deck a bunch of Supreme Kings. So we're going to be summoning the Odd Eyes of Cray and some other nonsense. You'll see that in a second. We have the Lyran being triggered off of the summon of a Tellarknight. We're going to chain domain. Is this exclusive to this playfield? Am I seeing things? The field's lighting up pink? Yeah? Centurion is now here. Centurion will then copy the effect of the domain to come forth and summon, but first we're going to use Iron Thunder. We know that they're playing Iron Thunder, so you'd want to summon your card in the same column as maybe the Trap Trick or the Centurion. Force them to wipe out their own cards. Wiping out the column, nothing else to wipe. As we now, on the resolution, Centurion copy the effect of the domain to then fusion summon into our Rex term. Rex term is here. We're now going to use Trap Trick, banishing from the deck a Frenzy to set up another Frenzy to summon a second copy of the Rex term. Well, first Centurion, then we could... Wait, that's a hard one to turn, right? We can't activate again. So anything that's 250 attack or higher cannot activate. Baguska is not activating. It will put the Rex term into defense. Damn. Baguska being a good out to the Rex turn Floodgates. We're now going to be tributing off our Supreme King Zark for the Odd Eyes Acray. Of course, we go into defense. We have Big Welcome, which is not going to be an out to the Baguska as it returns back to our extra deck, the Acray. Sure, we're waiting for Baguska after 2 more turns to go into the graveyard as it will not have enough materials to detach, but now it's an attack position, which makes it completely untargetable as we then summon a second copy of the Rex Term in attack position. Now the Rex Term could change the Baguska's attack in the damage step to be equal to our life points after we pay half of our life. So we know from there's not much we could really do. Very well done, Rex Term for the win. Simply, you're not negated. You just can't activate if your attack is equal to or higher than our very small amount of life points. Let's hop into game 3. We're going to start this duel off right away by activating Maxi within their draw phase. That's right. Let's go. We have the Full Armor Xyz, which will be able to perform an Xyz summon, and that should possibly be a disruption as we then equip onto the Full Armored Knight a card from the graveyard, which will trigger its effect to equip a monster on the field, so that's double disruption. We have the Little Knight disruption. We then have the Ptolemy, which is going to be able to, during the opponent's turn, summon something like possibly an Artifact Durendal, which will be a disruption, or it could be the other one that we're not playing. So that one, Durendal would possibly be the option there. Then we have the Tellarknight Genesis. Destroy spell and trap cards on the field equal to the number of other Tellarknight cards you control. Non-target, by the way, and we are playing a back row deck. That's pretty big. And will the stand-up Centurion and Primera even be doing anything? I don't think so. So I would say about 4 disruptions here if I'm counting correctly. End phase. How many other Tellarknight cards we control? 3. 3 other cards. Non-target, wipe out 3 back row. Absolutely devastating. Very well done. Damn. Hey, it's Fiendsmith, the big leak. We have not leaked anything today, my friend. Thank you. All right, let's hop into another match. Let's go. We're going to start this off with the draw phase to play around Draw and Lockbird and an Effective Ailer. That's why you want to use this in the draw phase, but the impermanents don't care that you are in the draw phase. We are going to negate the Huggin from searching for that limited to 1 field spell. As we now going to summon the Rex, Rex will be adding from the deck our Rookie for Hire. Rookie for Hire will tribute off our Huggin to summon from the deck our Beat for Hire as we now make a Donner. Donner for Hire is going to be tributing itself to special summon from the grave our Beats and our Raphael. Raphael and the Beat will be triggering, searching our deck, and looking at the top cards of our deck to add 1 to our hand. So we're going to get a nice little 2 cards add to our hand here as we search for the Rex, and then randomly grab the Flash Fire off the top. We're going to flash, I should say, curses into the Huggin to again activate the non-hard once per turn of the Nibiru, which is going to be tributing off the entire field as we're searching for our field spell. Chain Maxi to draw 2 cards off of this Maxi. Draw 1, draw 2, as we then grab up our field spell. So there's the double runic draw here as we now have the Runic Fountain to draw 3 cards by returning 3 runic cards in our graveyard back into the deck. We now have Gary into our draw 3 play. Return back, come to me. We already used up our normal summon. We're going to Flash Fire, wipe out the Nibiru because we already have another Flash Fire in the hand. We have a Monster Negate, we have a Destroy a Special Summon, and we have an Ash Blossom Negate. So triple disruption, Ash Negate, the Nightmare Throne, and from here we have to think, do we use the curses onto D-Lotus before it tributes itself? We do, but now we could special summon our Squirmer, then Squirmer, while in the graveyard, could reborn the D-Lotus and then activates effect. Yep. We're gonna pop the D-Lotus here, sure. As we then use Yubel and the D, I think that was maybe a mistake. We should have linked off, then use Squirmer to reborn D-Lotus. We're gonna pop the Phantom of Yubel, further banishing more and more cards off the top of our deck, triggering our Fountain to return 3 to draw 3. All within the end phase here. Throne's going to add Spirit of Yubel to then summon the Spirit of Yubel to trigger the Spirit of Yubel to search and set up a card. We have the Runic Tip chaining to the Spirit of Yubel to add from the deck. A Runic Destruction is what I'd be thinking. Yes, so if you want to set that card I'm going to wipe it out. Nightmare Pain, we're not going to send it. We're going to keep it in our hand. Oh boy, Sir Patrick is just getting started. We're going to summon our Rack Special, summon our Sprite Carrot. It is, in fact, a Sprite Runic FurHire deck. Donner FurHire, tributing itself, the special summon from the grave, the Beat and the Raphael, triggering the Beat and the Raphael to search and add off the top of our deck. Reveal 2, add the Fossil Dig, come to us our Dampa, as we then make a Nightmare Phoenix on summon, discard a card to wipe out that Nightmare Throne. Beat, special summon the Dampa, making a Falgo. Falgo triggering the Dampa to wipe out the Spirit of Yubel, which will summon a Yubel from the deck, as we then have the Falgo triggering to draw 3 cards off the top of our deck. Ain't no way. We're making a Sprite Elf, Reborn the Carrot. As we further Shokan into a Masquerena, we're going to Sprite Starter summon from the deck a Sprite Red, locking us into level/link and rank 2 monsters only. Yubel. What now? You're super screwed. The Masquerena is going to be able to link off into a Disruption. The Sprite Elf's going to be reborning something. As we make an Almirage, which could protect our card from being destroyed by the Dampa. As we make our Little Knight. Little Knight cannot target, well, it can target the Masquerena actually because it's not protected by the Sprite Elf. We're going to use the Sprite Red, tributing off the Dampa, which will negate the effects but not destroy. We're going to chain Masquerena to link off in response to the Little Knight attempting to banishing the Masquerena. As we then make our own Little Knight. Our own Little Knight will now on summon permanently banish the opposing Little Knight from the game, or banishing the Grave Squirmer instead. We now have the Sprite Elf reborning from the graveyard, our Donner FurHire, not Donner. As we then return back in our deck from the grave to summon our Phantom Yubel, as we then follow up with our Nightmare Pain, we're going to use our Little Knight to chain banish that Phantom of Yubel off the field until the end phase. It will be coming back. We don't have the Squirmer in the grave anymore to reborn, thus we end our turn. How do we deal with the Nightmare Pain? We have to attack into the Phantom of Yubel. We're going to be using the Donner, reborn from the grave, Dampa, then Raphael, thus the Dampa will trigger and be chain link blocked from the Phantom of Yubel, being able to negate it from popping our Nightmare Pain, which means we probably should have tried to negate the Donner instead of focusing on, I'll just negate whatever tries to deal with our Nightmare Pain. Is the main thing you want to think about. Oh, we have an Ibly on the field here. What the heck is this toxic deck, Sir Patrick? This was supposed to just be a Runic FurHire deck, huh? Anyway, you always want to be thinking about chain link blocking with your trigger effects. Multiple trigger effects activating at the same time to play around negates like Phantom of Yubel, Apollo USA. Those are the main ones to play around. Ibly disallowing us from special summoning, but it's negated right now. Why is it negated? Is it going to be not negated? Did the Underworld Goddess negate it? Did it summon then Goddess Resolve to negate? Ain't no way, mate. You gave them a negated Ibly that does nothing. What? Yeah, it's negated. So we can still special summon if we want to. Otherwise, you cannot special summon except link monsters is the main downside of having an Ibly on your own side of the field. So the main out with it is to have it destroyed by battle or tribute summon over it, a card that pops it like the Nightmare Pain, or you can normal summon a second monster then link off with it. Skipping our battle phase continually through the Runic card activations, we're going to use the Sprite Carrot to negate the effect, not the activation. Thus, the Spirit Gates will still remain on the field, but the effect to add from the deck is now negated. We could discard Spirit of Yubel to reborn if there's another monster that's available to summon from the graveyard, which there is not. So that would not be a legal play. We have no negate for the Spirit of Yubel summon, thus we're already in main phase 2, as Sir Patrick is desperately just trying to end the duel. Please, I'm trying to not BM you. What are you doing? We are going to return 3 from the grave back into the deck. Again, we're now skipping our next battle phase. We may want to be thinking about decking out the opponent with 21 cards left in their deck. We're going to sprint on summon send a level 2 from the deck if we wanted to, which we did not. We're going, yeah, it looks like we're going for a deck out. We just discarded 4 cards in the end phase from having 10 cards in our hand. What are we doing here? We don't have a battle phase. So, Donner, tribute itself, Reborn, Dampa, then Raphael in that order. Thus, the Dampa will trigger, pop in the Spirit to reborn the Banish Yubel back in the field. We're going to take control of that Yubel, but forgetting that we have no battle phase. We did it for no reason. Oh my gosh. And then what you chose to tribute with Yubel? Yubel says, tribute or destroy this. And you said, I'm going to tribute to keep it on the field? What? Normal summon Ash. We're going to max C. This duel is an absolute mess. We're going to make our Cross Sheep. We're going to negate the Cross Sheep with the curses, banishing cards off the top of the deck, triggering the field spell to return 3, draw 3. As we return back on our deck to summon our Phantom of Yubel to trigger our negated Cross Sheep, pop the Phantom of Yubel, further banishing more cards off the top of the deck to grab a Runic Destruction to then use it, yes, to pop the back row, banishing 4 cards off the top of the deck. 8 cards left. Again, we do not have a battle phase. We're going to destroy the Cross Sheep, banishing 2 cards off the top of the deck. 6 more cards to banish off the top of the deck. We're going to be banishing 4 cards off the top, forcing them to also draw with 1 card left. This is it with the D-Lotus and our Spirit Gates. Can we make the play we need? No, we cannot. We could have discarded D-Lotus to reborn a Spirit of Yubel from the grave if we had one, and also use the Spirit Gates to add back the Nightmare Pain, and then maybe we could have had some sort of lethal play by reflecting with the Spirit of Yubel, but all that would have been stopped by the Goddess on field, negating an effect to reborn from the grave. Oh my Jesus. Turn 15. Ain't no way. Max C in the draw phase with no way to negate, and we opened up a 1-for-1, unfortunately, which does not play well against a Max C. We have the Dark Beckoning Beast grabbing our Spirit Gates. Spirit Gates searching for another Dark Beckoning Beast. The Dark Beckoning allowing the additional summon into a D-Lotus, but under the effect of Max C, we don't want a special summon. Now, you have to really think when it comes down to Max C, why do we hate Max C? We hate Max C because it's forcing us to make some special summons where otherwise on the next turn, they're gonna be lethaling us. But if you're playing against Max C in a deck that's using Runic, they can't one-turn kill. So just don't special summon at all. You don't need any forms of disruption. The fear is that they're still gonna set up a powerful field, but they're definitely not gonna one-turn kill you. And that's why Max C back in my day, 10, 12 years ago when I played, it was not really that good of a card because decks didn't have the power to be able to lethal you. They activate Max C, you say LOL -1, I end. Let's go. Max C in the draw phase, chaining to that Runic Tip. Ash, negate, mate, I don't think so. We have 0 disruption as Runic is now able to build up whatever they want. I end up using Max C in my Dragon Ruler deck because the Redux with Max C, you could discard Max C to reborn any monster from the grave. That was nuts. We're going to have the Beat Special Summon Rex, search our deck for another Rex as the Rex searches for the Rookie for Hire, tributing off the Beat, summon for the deck a Donpa. Donpa Special Summon, trigger to pop a card in the field, take out the Spirit Gates, link up into the Elf. Elf, reborn the Rex in the graveyard. Double Rex into Mannequin Cat. Mannequin Cat, target a monster in the opponent's graveyard, reborn it on the field, then target any monster on the field on the opposing side to then summon from our deck or graveyard a monster with the same type or attribute. It's quite confusing. We're going to choose the D-Lotus to summon a Dark. So there you go. We reborned a Maxi, which is Earth and Insect, to then target the Dark D-Lotus to summon a Dark Sprite Blue from our deck. And now we got into our Sprite engine through the freaking FurHire cards. What the heck? I mean, isn't this gigantic Sprite with extra steps? Like, what? Hello? I guess we could still gigantic Sprite now. Alrighty, we have Donner FurHire tributing itself to reborn the Beats and the Donpa as you now make a Falgo. Falgo is going to be activating a summon from the deck of monster that wasn't used as one of the materials, as the Raphael is going to be looking at the top of the deck to just draw a single card here. We have the Smiting Storm, smiting. How many cards off the top of the deck? 6 cards off the top of the deck to then trigger the field spell to return 2, draw 2. As we then follow up with the Sprite Starter, summon from the deck a Sprite Red. We're now going to Rex, banish, reborn from the grave our Donpa. As we then use Runic Destruction, destroying the Harpy Feather Duster, which will trigger the Falgo to draw how many cards? 3 cards. As we then Fossil Dig our deck, so we have the Field Spell, which drew 2, and the Falgo, which drew 3. 5 cards drawn here. End our turn after popping. We have 19 cards left in our deck. How much are we disrupted by our banished cards? The Yubel could summon back on the field through the Spirit of Yubel being destroyed. The Tellarknight is summonable through the Nightmare Throne, but not the Yubel itself, because the Yubel itself says that you could only summon the Tellarknight from the hand, deck, or graveyard, not the banishment. But the Nightmare Throne will recycle your banished Tellarknight back on the field. You have to... Here's the situation with Runic. When you are playing Runic, you are now forcing your opponent to have extra knowledge about their own deck, which most people do not have, because a lot of people aren't well practiced in the grind game with their own deck, with the nuances of their interactions and knowing things like, let's say, using the Nightmare Throne in your own Little Knight to continually banish your own cards to return them back in the deck so you don't deck out against Runic. That's an important thing to know. So you really want to be knowing that. If a Yubel monster leaves the field, so you could do so with your own Little Knight, and then continually return back your banished cards. So, as I said, no deck out. But do we know that? Probably not. Little Knight's going to be one of the best cards to help counter this. We have the Freezing Curses, which is going to be negating the D-Lotus, Dark Beckoning into the additional Dark Beckoning into our Spirit Gates. We're going to Elf, Reborn, Donner from the graveyard, triggering Dampa, wiping out Throne. Knowing that that's the main way to recycle the banished cards back into the deck, we're going to 1-for-1 special summon our D-Lotus as we now make an Al Mirage. We're now going to be making our Little Knight. Little Knight is here on summon, get banishing. We're going to, let me correction on that. The Nightmare Throne is not returning back in the deck. It is going to be adding a banished card, and then you're going to add it to your hand, that is. But you're still recycling your banished cards to make plays with. So you're still going to deck out. We're going to Little Knight on summon. We're not going to be activating. We already activated banish. We're banishing the, what did we target here? I got mixed up. We're targeting the red. Red tries to negate, which it will successfully do. Little Knight before being destroyed is going to be chain banishing. And it did get destroyed. So why did Little Knight not banish itself? Little Knight is now gone. Instead of banishing itself to be protected from the destruction of the Sprite Red. Now, Sprite Red normally does not destroy. It only destroys if you tribute off a Link or an Xyz monster. Only then it will then destroy. Otherwise, it just negates the effect. That is a 2-0 victory. Very well done. Good job to Runic. Runic. Emblema Oath. We're going to set up into the back row of the Trudea. Now, there's a downside with the Emblema Oath where you're locked into Centurion monsters only as long as you still control that card. So if that card's just in the back row, you're still locked in through the Emblema Oath. We're going to wake up Centurion, and let me double check the downside on that real quick. So we making the Auxilla, sure. So this says that you cannot special summon from the extra deck except Centurion as long as you control that card, and that card is still there. Auxilla grabbing the Phalanx, which will be able to banish a monster. We're going to Libellion detach from our hand. That's right, detach. We're going to grab from the deck our Magna Hut. We're going to be using the Wake Up Centurion to send an Emeth from the deck to the graveyard as we then special summon our Magna Hut. I see a lot of pings in the chat. It makes me think, like, is my fly down? Is the audio wrong? Am I saying something? What's going on? We have Stand Up Centurion as we then end our turn. Let's talk about our forms of disruption. Sure. All right, boom. Now, we do have a form of disruption through our back row monsters, which will summon into a synchro. We do have the Phalanx, which will be able to banish a monster, then special summon it during the next turn. You could do so onto your own monster, then special summon. Now, Lava Golem is a situation, We also have Lightning Storm. Now, it's worth noting with the Stand-Up Centurion, cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control a Centurion monster card. So, is this a monster card? It's a trap card, right? No, it's still a monster card, thus it's protected from Lightning Storm. We also have Auxilla, which says, face-up cards in your back row cannot be destroyed. So, can't be destroyed due to the Auxilla, but we could Lava Golem, then Lightning Storm. Yeah. So, no longer will the Regain be protected, but it will trigger to Reborn from the grave our Magna Hut. Magna Hut searching for a dragon during the end phase as we now Lightning Storm it up. And as we already established, wait, we're not chaining Trudea also? What? Okay, I guess we're just making a Chaos Angel with this, sure, right? Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel will be 3,500, making all of our monsters indestructible by battle and unaffected from activated monster effects. The problem is I already see an out in our hand to the unaffected from monster effects Chaos Angel. That's the King Sark. At the start of the damage step, if the Chaos Angel battles with a Horus monster, it's going to be sent to the grave. Yeah. We're going to be... What the heck was that? Discarding a Dogmatica Nexus? I don't think I've ever seen that card before. We're going to then further... Wow. How many Horus cards do we have on the field? 4 Horus cards. Happy of the Guidance Horus, going to send the Chaos Angel to the grave. We have 4,800, 2,500 going in afterward. Phalanx is going to be banished from the graveyard to reborn our Auxilla, blocking that attack, searching for a stand-up Centurion. The big question is, what do we do main phase 2? And apparently nothing. Now, the Horus cards themselves are kind of a form of protection. If the I'm Seti witnesses one of our other cards leave the field, it's going to send a card in the field to the grave. The Happy will then add 2 cards to the hand. The Queb, I think, is going to draw multiple cards, or this one, the Dumatef. The Dumatef, draw per different monster we control. So draw, let's say they deal with this monster. You draw 3, return 2 cards back to our hand, and send a card in the field to the grave. So this is an issue on how we deal with this field specifically. I think this is the weakest one. This is the weakest one. We don't care about the Queb. The Queb will make your other Horus cards untargetable if a card leaves the field. Making now our Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon's going to be targeting the Auxilla to then Shokan into a Cosmic Blazar Dragon. We're now going to Emblema Oath, set up into the back row our Trudea. Ending our turn? That's it? End our turn. That's interesting. Okay, whoa, we're doing a full 5 material Underworld Goddess linking off of the Blazar Dragon, and all of our Horus cards in the graveyard can just reborn. That's it. They're going to come back onto the field, all 4 of them back on the field if we do not deal with that King Sark. So we are going to be making a Crimson Dragon again with our stand-up Centurion to then target the Auxilla to make a red Supernova Dragon. Now the red Supernova is waiting for when your opponent activates a monster effect, we can then banish the entire field. What the heck is this? A 5-headed Link Dragon. I've never seen this. 5 monsters must be Link summoned. If this card is Link summoned using a Dark, Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind attributes, did we do that? You could destroy all cards your opponent controls. What? Water, Earth, Dark, Wind. Did we fulfill the requirement? No, we didn't. We didn't. What are we missing? Wow. What the heck? Wait, I think we did fulfill the requirement. We didn't want to activate because we would then get banished. Cannot be destroyed by battle with a Dark, Earth, Wind, Fire, or Wind. Yeah, what the heck? And it's also, wait, unaffected by other card effects? Unaffected by other card effects. Completely unaffected. Can't be destroyed by battle by most of the attributes. During your opponent's end phase, you must banish 5 cards from your graveyard face down. This is not optional. We have 9 cards in our grave. How do we deal with this? Unaffected, can't be destroyed by battle? Holy moly. I didn't know this was a thing. Grab the I'm Seti from the graveyard, further Shokan into our Celine Navida. We can make an access code talker, which will be bigger than the 5-headed, but can't be destroyed by battle and unaffected. Wow, 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 wow. Let's look at this art. Wow. What the hell is this? Was this someone in the anime? 300 damage. Okay, sure. We're going to non-target, pop a card in the field, taking out the King Sark. We do have to banish 5 cards from our graveyard. Not optional. So we have to continually fill our graveyard, and at least the access code talker is walling off the 5-headed Link Dragon at the moment. We're going to be reborning from the grave as many Horus cards as we want. We're now going to max C after 2 have been summoned. Further Shokaning into a Farragut. Farragut's not an out to the access code talker. We're going to draw a card. What are we doing? Draw, return, back. We don't have enough cards in the grave to keep the 5-headed Link Dragon on the field. If we just end our turn, it's going to die. Well, you just protected it. Now it's going to stay back on the field by banishing 5 within the end phase. Okay, taking out the set evenly match. We're going to Judea set up the Primera into the back row 5-headed Link. Banish 5 cards from the grave to keep it on the field. Is this like the most legit way to play this card or what? I guess Horus is. They're all different attributes. Banish the Happy before it gets summoned. End our turn. Simply end our turn also. And that will be the end of the 5-headed Link Dragon. Let's just build up a field while we're doing so. Come forth and summon, Baron to floor, Omni negate, get pop and mate, take out the field spell, we can't banish. And just like that, the 5-headed Link Dragon's reign of terror has ended. Walled off by the access code talker, that's all you had to do. Summon a bigger body and then wait. Huh. And you would think that with your King Sark, the bigger body's not going to be a problem because your Horus cards could just swing into the bigger body, sending it to the graveyard through the effect of your King Sark. He left. He left after one duel. That's what it looks like, unless the duel fell off in the duel room. He's out of here. He's done. That's it. You saw my 5-headed Link Dragon. I'm now gone.